Good morning, I'm Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. As usual, we got a lot to cover in today's program, so I'm going to get straight to it with our first guest, Steve Parkhurst. And Steve is a great friend of the Price of Business. He's a political consultant, and he's also a senior editor over at USDailyReview.com. He has been the feature writer over there of a column that is that's really the longest-running feature over at U.S. Daily Review, which is called Across the Pond, which is a look at what's happening over in the U.K., and it's kind of interesting. What happens, they're several hours ahead of us. Their day is coming to a close right now as we speak. Their elections are coming to a close right now as we speak, and they've had, you can kind of look at the beginning of our day and look at their day, and it's somewhat of a harbinger of what's going to happen here. That's the theory, and I think there's some truth to it. And that's why I think Across the Pond it is one of our most popular features. Steve, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Great to be back.
Hey, real quickly, kind of tell us a little bit about the consulting work you do.
Well, political consultant, so we run campaigns for all levels. If somebody wants to run for city council or school board or state representative or Congress, we kind of do it all. Judicial, Supreme Court races, stuff like that. So a little bit of everything, and we get in there and we do everything. We do website content and create written materials and yard signs and write radio ads and speeches, just whatever needs to be done for a particular campaign. We do it all.
Yeah. So why don't you give your website real quick before we get to our topic?
Okay, sure. The name of our business is American Renaissance. So our and actually American Renaissance Political Consulting Group, our website is amrenconsulting.com. And obviously I said American Renaissance just to explain why it's Amren. So, just amrenconsulting.com. They can find us and connect with us.
So about the UK elections, it's being described as the most likely to be the closest in years, maybe even decades. And it's kind of ironic that the Scotland National Party could end up becoming the spoiler for the Conservatives. But it's a really interesting race to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of races over there that are interesting to watch. And actually, as much as the SNP can be a problem, UKIP over there, the UK Independence Party, can also be a major factor in this. They're not likely to win many seats, but if they win a few, they will typically take those away from Tories, from the Conservatives over there. So that's that makes it just that much closer. And it looks like really right now it looks like we're going to have a hung parliament over there again, and it looks like there's going to have to be another deal, kind of another coalition. It doesn't look like Labour has enough to overtake and to actually form a majority government right now.
Yeah, currently UKIP has one seat, and their likely swing is going to be an extra vote, is what it looks like. They're going to probably add one, at the most three, is what they're projecting over there. Meanwhile, Labor looks like it is going to possibly pick up, actually lose seats. I'm sorry, Liberal Democrats are likely to lose seats, and Conservatives are likely to lose seats. Pretty normal, though, especially after a pretty long incumbency.
Right. Yeah, they have. They've been in power for 5 years, which is longer than we elect presidents for 4 here. So they've had 5 years in power, and you tend to get just a little bit of stale. They don't have the reelection rate that we have here, and so it's just there's. The thing is you've got to have a certain number to be able to form a majority government, and none of the parties right now seems to be able to cross that threshold.
By the way, what is that number? Do you know?
I believe it's 302, but I could be a little bit off on that.
302, which means the Liberal Democrats aren't going to be able to get them over that number. However, the SNP and Labor could possibly make a coalition.
It could be, yeah, and even if UKIP were to be a factor in there with the Tories, and then they also join in with the Lib Dems. I mean, any scenario is possible there.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. What do you actually think in the end? Do you think they, and by the way, for the listener, British elections are very different from ours. There's a time frame that they have, which is roughly it must be after 3 years, I think, and before 5 years. And so you're talking about he didn't do it now because he wanted to. He did it now because he's kind of running out of time.
Yeah, pretty much. He had to. In fact, they ran the gamut. They ran the longest period that you can run. So they had to do an election after 5 years. They dissolved the parliament. 6 weeks ago, and now they have an election. So ultimately, my gut feeling tells me that it's going to be David Cameron again, and probably a bizarre consortium of a coalition, another coalition. I don't see the same coalition coming back, especially with Nick Clegg leading the Lib Dems. But I do see a coalition being headed up by David Cameron again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you think that Nick's going to get replaced?
Well, not necessarily replaced as leader of his party. I just don't think he's
deputy prime minister.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They may not even have that position. That's one that hadn't been used in decades. It's really more ceremonial. It's kind of a bone more than anything else.
Yeah, it was much less. You would think being deputy prime minister would be the equivalent of being, say, a vice president here. And for as little power as a vice president here has, a deputy prime minister has even less power. I mean, it was really a ceremonial. It was really just an olive branch to help form a coalition government to say, look, let's form a coalition, and we'll create a position for this guy, your party leader, and let's work together for the next few years. And that's what they did. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. I guess about the only prop you get is you get to give an occasional speech. And like I said, I think he was the first deputy prime in, my God, like 30 or 40 years from what I've read. I can't remember now, but it was a long time. And people think, would he replace the prime minister if something happened to him? No. It'd be the leader of the Conservative Party, whoever that was. The next leader would be the next prime minister if something had happened to Cameron, and they probably would have to have an election, a referendum about that. So it's an interesting thing. Well, Steve Parkhurst, make sure you check out his column over there at usdatareview.com called Across the Pond, and he's been doing it now for years, and we appreciate your continued contribution.
Absolutely. It's great to be with you, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, we'll do some post-election coverage. All right.
Sounds good.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you best content here, including this interview, will be found over there at usdatareview.com. I saw Taxman Bob. He came into the studio. We'll be chatting with him next, right here on The Price of Business.